Hi, I'm Rebecca Hutton, President and CEO of Leadership Indianapolis, and this is the Convo. Today I'm talking with Tom Hanley from 913 Sports. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing well this morning. How about yourself, Rebecca?
Doing great, thank you.
What?
So I'm very excited to speak with Tom. Tom is a good friend. He is, in full disclosure, we're very lucky to have him on the board of Leadership Indianapolis. He recently joined a board member of SKL Class 40 and has stayed close to the organization in a lot of ways over the years. So I'm really happy to have you here and very proud of the work that you are doing. And it's been very cool for me to be able to watch you kind of grow and evolve over the years. So today we're going to be talking about kind of this next step in the evolution and how you're responding to all that is happening in the world right now in some really innovative ways, but also ways that really serve the community. So first off, for those not familiar with 913 Sports, can you tell us what's the normal business model? What does 913 Sports do?
913 Sports is a youth-focused organization that I started here in 2012 in Central Indiana, and we use the bicycle as an education tool. We got a few program lines. We launched with our Kids Riding Bikes program in 2012 that takes stationary bicycle simulators into schools, works alongside physical education teachers as part of the PE classes during the school day, and has been a fast-growing program since we launched it, ultimately going to serving just shy of 60,000 youth across 9 counties in 2019. We've got a few other programs we brought online over the past couple of years. The other fast-growing programs are Kids Building Bikes program, which actually teaches kids how to work with tools, work with their hands. And then ultimately they graduate with a brand new bicycle that they have built on their own after a four-week-long curriculum. So just connecting the dots between being good stewards in the community, using the bicycle as basically an education resource, and trying to serve the great work that teachers, administrators, and community organizations are doing across our city.
Fantastic. So clearly during this time with the pandemic, their schools are closed. So that has a huge impact on you. So can you talk a little bit how are you adapting and evolving during this time?
Yeah, so we were really we were tuned in to what was going on as this was starting to play out. And we work a lot with not only schools, but a lot of corporate funders and healthcare partners that help cover the costs related to our school and education programs. And so that really put us in a unique seat to watch this process start. And so as recently as 2 weeks ago, we were still running youth programs, and we saw the path this was going. We were able to consult with our healthcare partners and realize that having a stand down of our school program was going to be the best option forward for the safety of the community, for the safety of my staff, and then ultimately to just try to step back and get our arms wrapped around what was coming next. So that put us in the spot of, we have 11 full-time staff members, we have 3 vans, we've got 3 trucks and trailers, we've got 28,000 square feet of warehouse space in the near northwest neighborhood of our new depot that we moved into last year. And we immediately started looking at what could we do to be a resource for the community. And then from my standpoint, what could I do to be able to continue to justify employing our staff of 11 as we look at layoffs and furloughs going on in every industry and every sector all across the country. And what could we do to be able to provide some stability for the organization here in the short term. And so I've always joked that we are we transitioned from being this bike-focused nonprofit to this operations and logistics organization that happens to get kids riding bikes and kids building bikes. And we've got a lot of moving pieces on a daily basis when we see 600 students, and we've got 4 or 5 different trucks and vans rolling out all across the community. So we've really found our niche with that, and we've been able to build that reputation. And so the logical step was, how could we redeploy these resources to be able to supplement the great work that frontline community leaders were doing, whether you're talking about food service with gleaners and second helpings, what's going on with the mayor's office right now, and the great work the deputy mayors are doing to help really create a wraparound service, to identifying needs that there are certain people that can't leave their house to be able to get to a food pantry because they don't have transportation, or maybe because they're not feeling well and they're self-quarantining. And then with big trucks and big trailers and all the equipment, Logistically, it's really hard to move 5 or 10,000 pounds of food from gleaners to a secondary distribution site, whether that's a community center or neighborhood resource. So we have spent the last few days, spent last week really getting our arms wrapped around what our capacity was, getting our own house in order. So making sure our depot is clean, making sure the vehicles are ready to roll. And we spent this week pretty much constantly on the phone with other leaders. My leadership team has done a phenomenal job of reaching out, having those conversations and being able to articulate what we're capable of. And really since Monday afternoon when we started making those phone calls, it's been light speed. So we helped move about 5,000 pounds of food yesterday from gleaners to the Flanner House on the near northwest side. We're currently in discussions with multiple organizations about how to help move food, how to help move blood during blood drives, how to help staff these resources, and really, in a roundabout way, do whatever is needed to help support the primary focus of these other organizations and fill that role as a supplemental staff, supplemental vehicles, and make it as turnkey as possible.
It's really fantastic and great thinking. As I'm listening to you, it occurs to me that this is, in one way, very much what you do with your programs with kids, right? Like, you are not just teaching kids to build bikes so they know how to build a bike. It's all those transferable skills and all those different places that they'll be able to apply that later in their lives, and that building their confidence so that they can do things. And as I listen to you talking, I'm just thinking the organizations that you're supporting can move forward with more confidence in their primary work, knowing that they've got this, logistics and operational support that you're providing. And so it's interesting to hear, for an organization who does so much around transferable skills, to see how you yourselves are putting the skills that you are naturally using and the materials and the equipment that you have and placing them into a different use.
And for me, and it really is, this organization might have started as my vision, but my staff, from those that are in the school sites on a daily basis with our traditional programming to the rest of my leadership team, are what make the wheels go round for our organization these days. And so, I didn't ask permission to start this organization. I built something that was really unlike anything else out there, whether you talk about going to schools during the school day, whether you talk about using bikes, all of these things. I really operated on the let's do it, show it works, ask for forgiveness, not permission, and see where it goes. And I'm a little bit older now. I was 24 when I started this organization, so my risk tolerance was probably a little bit higher back then. But now sitting here with what we are facing as a community, what I didn't want to do was get bogged down in the back and forth of what the business plan is. I've always been a big believer, if you're doing good work and you're supporting the community, some of those logistics will figure themselves out. And so instead of trying to talk with funders first about, hey, here's what we can do, we went immediately to those organizations that needed the services and basically built out this proof of concept in as little as 48 hours. And we'll start spending some time here over the next week talking with the funding community that's helping support these immediate response needs, to make sure that we're taking care of our staff and that we can create some runway for the organization with this. But my biggest goal was to get these assets into the community, get these assets working for community partners, and be able to maximize the impact of all of the social good that is happening across Central Indiana right now.
Fantastic. So you mentioned that you're working with organizations like Gleaners and Second Helpings, the city. If there is an organization that is interested in working with you and needs this kind of support, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Yeah, the best way is to reach out to me directly. I know you'll have my email in the blog post here, but thanley@913sports.org. This has been such a quick process that we're talking with everybody right now. I anticipate we will hit our own capacity here pretty quickly. We might have already hit it. I'm not sure yet, but knowing how quickly this is moving as a community, we're down. I'm willing to talk and figure out if there's a way we can assist and support absolutely any organization right now as we work with the mayor's office and some of these bigger entities.
What kind of experiences have prepared you to be ready for this moment?
Yeah, so I feel it's interesting being an entrepreneur, a social entrepreneur that started a company and has seen it grow from a crazy idea that everybody said wouldn't work to where we sit today, serving 60,000 youth a year and having a full-time staff of 11. You kind of learn to overcome and figure it out along the way. And, I've lived a lot of lives in my 33 years. I have had a chance to step back and be able to figure out what's really important to me through serious injury, through love, through loss, things like that. And so, the one thing that I love about Indianapolis is everybody's willing to step up. Everybody's willing to raise their hand and say, how can I help? Whether that is community leaders or whether that is somebody who's wanting to knit scarves for the Super Bowl. We just live in an amazing town. And so, my life experiences, while they might be unique, we all have them. We all have our life experiences. We all have our defining moments. And so the key with all of those is I've always had the mentality, I didn't want to be the victim, whether it was from a bus crash that wasn't my fault, that broke two vertebrae and suffered a brain injury, or, the end of a cycling career, whatever it may be. I never wanted to be the victim. I always wanted to find the good out of it, take the life lesson, be able to move on. And so all of those life lessons have really kind of come together to be in a spot where, I know what the worst day of my life is. And in reality, if 913 Sports, if funders go away or funding changes and this organization goes away, it's tragic to me because this has been my lifeblood for the last 9 years plus. But I've done my best. I've given my best. And at the end of it all, I know what a bad day really is. I know what a problem really is. And so that always kind of keeps it in perspective for me. And also is the driving force for why I want to make sure we are continuously serving the community in any capacity right now.
I'm having these conversations with lots of different folks in the community. Those people that are stepping up are doing so enthusiastically, wholeheartedly, and oftentimes around the clock. And so how are we making sure that you don't burn out or that you're not getting sick? And quite honestly, especially with the situation in the world right now, there's just a lot of mental space and emotional space that we're all having to kind of navigate for ourselves. So how are you taking care of yourself in order to ensure sustainability?
I've gotten more runs in the past week or so than I have, I think, in all of 2020 combined so far. So I'm making sure I'm exercising, making sure I'm practicing social distance. Really right now, with the path we're going down, I've designated certain staff members as essential staff to be able to provide these social goods. So I'm really trying to follow the governor's orders to a T, trying to respect the stand down order that has been issued by both state and local authorities, and really appreciative of what both Governor Holcomb and Mayor Hogsett have done to try to curtail this as much as possible, and really pushing for everybody to follow those requests, rules, and stand down orders. With that being said, it's making sure I'm getting a good night's sleep, making sure I'm taking care of myself, making sure I'm enjoying spending some time on the deck and grilling and all of that, and just making sure that I'm stepping back and also taking care of myself in addition to trying to take care of those we're trying to serve. And at times those can be polar opposites, especially when I'm running an organization that I want to make sure continues on after this. But I've got a great team. I'm very aware of what's going on here. And I know if I get sick, I can't continue to manage the team and what we're trying to do. So personal health, personal hygiene is number one on my list right now.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for being willing to adjust and adapt in order to serve the community and to take care of your staff and your people. So we're grateful for everything you're doing, and I'm sure that the people who are having access to the food that you're delivering are also really grateful.
Great. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Please stay healthy, and thank you for all you can I look forward to assisting in any way I can with Leadership Indianapolis, and I'm proud to be a board member.
Thanks, Tom. Take care. Bye-bye.